This is where I think I want to start my trading video. And it's here at the beach where I had this epiphany. I had been doing some trading and I had some big wins and some big losses. And there's a time where I just hung it up and I just quit, threw in the towel, said, you know what? This isn't for me. I just can't take this stress anymore. I'm just, there's a reason why most people fail at it. And then I had this epiphany at the beach, and I saw these waves crashing and coming in and coming in and coming in. And it dawned on me that waves just like this at beaches all over planet Earth have been doing this for millions, if not billions of years, and will continue to do it for millions and billions of years. And 100 years from now, there's going to be a dude just like me sitting at the beach doing the same thing. It's going to look exactly the same. What's my point? My point is that these waves are just like trades. They're just like opportunities. They're gonna just keep coming on and on forever and forever. And that no one wave is gonna be the end all be all. And I'm kind of coming at it from this perspective of a wannabe surfer. I just moved to the beach here within a year ago, and one of my goals is to learn surfing this year. And I've surfed one time, and I know this much, that there's big waves, there's small waves. You're gonna crash on some waves. You're gonna ride waves out. There's rogue waves that just come out of nowhere and just knock the shit out of you. And all of that is a parallel or a metaphor for trading, of course. You're a bright person, I think you get that. But if you've lost in trading, that doesn't make you a loser. You need to get that in your head right now, because you're gonna lose some more. The object of the exercise is to win more than you lose. So just get familiar with losing. Get familiar with wiping out, crashing on a wave. It doesn't make you a loser if you lose. You just want to minimize those losses and maximize the wins. Anyway, I thought I'd kick this video off right here, just like this, under this circumstance. And if you found me and you've lost at trading, it doesn't make you a loser. You're gonna have opportunity after opportunity, just like wave after wave after wave. And it's gonna be business as usual. That's the way I want it to be. I want it to be boring. I want it to be expected. And I hope this video finds the right person and helps the right person. All right, let's go do some nerdy stuff. Okay, so something strange happened, and I want to go ahead and start making sort of a video journal about it and see if I'm on to something. So if you guys follow me, hey, my name is Scott, and I've got this thing I call 10K Tuesday, where I run 10 kilometers, and I've got this weird goal. I want to make $10,000 on a Tuesday, 10K. And so basically, we moved to Virginia Beach, and I started doing all this day trading, and it really didn't turn out so hot. And so before things got financially uncomfortable, I went and got myself a job. Now on this job, it's a plumbing job. I happen to be a master plumber on paper. I don't feel like one in real life, but it landed me a plumbing job, and I'm a pretty good little plumber. And so here's what happened. I said, you know what? I want to keep trading. The more I trade, the worse I got. And I noticed that the really good traders seldomly trade. They're not going click, 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 click. And, like some of them only take like maybe 2 trades a month, which is crazy to me. But anyway, it's working because they're the ones that actually own Lambos, They can speak to that stuff. So anyway, so what happened? All right. I took a job plumbing, and however, I decided, I still want to practice. So you can paper trade for free, and you can use TradingView, and you can do it on your computer or you can do it on your phone. Well, because I was being a plumber, I used my phone I started doing pretty darn well. So this is past week. So between Tuesday and Friday, you know, and I've got like a guy riding with me in the van, and like I'm showing him like, well, this is what I know. And what I did was I set the thing, I didn't even know how to set the thing up. When you go onto TradingView and you set yourself up for paper trading, it defaults you to like $100,000 to start with. And so I didn't even know how to do it on my phone. I just pretended I had $1,000 to start with, because that's where most of us are going to typically start. So trading under that premise that you got $1,000 and ideally you want to make it into $2,000. And so anyway, that's what I did. So I took this $100,000, and so I just, in my mind, I just subtracted a few zeros, and I doubled it and then some over the course between just Tuesday and Friday, not even counting Monday. What I'm going to do is, are you with me, girls? They just went to the beach. So what I'm going to do is I want to take the real trading and I want to make it look exactly like the TradingView I've got set up on my phone, and I want to try to duplicate it in real life. And of course, I'll still be at work. I'm not going to quit my job because I had made $1,146 in 1 week of paper trading. I just wanted to stick a pin right here, you know, in this place and time, and sort of see how it goes and see if there's something to it. And, you know, and of course, whatever I figure out, I'll gladly share it with you. A lot of people have asked me about day trading, and I'm so glad that I never said, yeah, I'm the guy to follow. Buy my course, I'll show you how to day trade. There's gobs of people out there that do that. Those are the guys with Lambos and jets and shit, and like they'll show you how to day trade, and like most of the content's for free. So by all means, go do it. But anyway, the fella that I've been working with, Parker, he said, why don't you talk more about day trading on your channel? And I was like, well, I mean, I can just share what I know. We had a good week last week. Let's see if we can't do it again. So today I made $650 while at my plumbing job. I'm onto a new trading system, and so far it's pretty dang solid. So what preceded that was... So my trading has been really inconsistent until like this past week. And so I started, you know, these were my last trades way back... Oh gosh, yeah, February there. I took a lot of time off to rebuild and figure this thing out. And then today, I decided to go ahead and go live again while I was at work, working for my employer. So you can see the 24th here, and it's just consistent green after green after green. Sure, I got some red, but they're very small losses. Green, 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 green. Oh yeah, today was a great day. All right. Again, this is while I'm at my job. Just so you don't think I'm screwing over my employer, don't ever screw over your employer. The reason I'm able to do this is because we have a lot of downtime. And I'll tell you why. Because at any moment, the phone's going to ring. It's a plumbing operation, for crying out loud. There is such a thing as stealing time, and I'm not down with that at all whatsoever. And these trades are kind of small, but you know, you get a lot of smalls adds up. $650 far exceeded what my salary was for today. And then of course, you know, your errors, or you try to keep them small. And occasionally, you know, you'll get a nice 20 spot here, another nice 20, a nice 30, you know, it's good stuff. And then I think there's a couple of 95ers or 50s, you know. That's good stuff right there, back to back. There you go, yeah. Great day, I'm really stoked about this. Well, it is a beautiful sunny Sunday here at the beach. Where are all the surfers? Why am I pretty much one of the only ding-dongs with a surfboard? Because the surfers know there are not any waves worth surfing, therefore they're stayed at home. And that's one parallel that I've found with trading is if it's not right, we don't trade. It takes more discipline to not trade than to trade. And I think, the metaphors and the parallels with surfing really go well with that, especially with waves. Like, even if it is a good surfing day, the surfers don't take every wave they see. So if it's just knowing when the waves are going to be there. Matter of fact, this one guy that's out there right now, he said, yeah, the low tide's coming at 10:30. I didn't know that. This fella's prepping. Maybe he also knows something I don't know. It actually takes more discipline to not press the button, to not engage in trades when things are not perfectly suitable. The surfers might very well have the potential to be terrific traders because of their snobbery. If the waves aren't good, they ain't coming out. Doesn't matter if it's a beautiful day, not a cloud in the sky. They're not gonna bring their surfboards out like this guy. The time and volume is where we need to be trading at. We shouldn't just place trades for the heck of it. That's how we lose money. The discipline of not trading is how I found myself much more profitable than when I was just fooling around and taking chances. We shouldn't just trade for the hell of it. Just because it's Monday, the markets are open. If the waves aren't there, we shouldn't trade. We shouldn't force it. It's got to come to us. That's the whole surfer trading metaphor parallel that I wanted to hopefully open your eyes with, because I'm one of the only ding-dongs out here with a surfboard. Now, it was fun, don't get me wrong, going out there and getting wet, but the surfers aren't here, so that should be quite telling. All right, what I wanted to talk about in this segment is dopamine danger. And what I mean by that is the thing that changes trading into gambling. That is the thing that really wigs you out and really gets you excited and makes you press buttons you shouldn't press at certain times. And you say to yourself, why did I do that? Dopamine is why you did it. And it's a real thing. And it's something that we have to outsmart. And I've got a couple scenarios that I wanted to run past you. So let's pretend that you have just been hired on as a bouncer or a bartender at a strip club, okay? And you are now surrounded by gorgeous, beautiful women that are naked all the time. And this actually happened to a successful trader. I saw this guy, he was interviewed a while back. I have no idea what his name is at this point. It's just one of the stories that stuck with me, right? And he literally said this. He said, the first week or two, I was like, I. And then after that, it was just like, hey, Jennifer, how'd your mom's hip replacement go? That crazy exoticness became normalized, and that's what we need to do in the realm of trading. We need to normalize it. Or kind of like, let's pretend that you want to be a snake handler and you want to work with copperheads. Copperheads are poisonous. Well, I assume, I'm totally winging it, but I imagine that you could build up an immunity to venom. I'm maybe totally talking out of my ass right here, but I remember the guy did it on Princess Bride. Inconceivable. So, strippers and snakes. You got to build up your immunity to them, or your tolerance, or you need to normalize it. You need to outsmart the dopamine that is going to want to attack you. How do you do that? Well, continuous exposure to the market is one way. I mean, it's you got to do it. You got to put your time in. You got to put your reps in. You got to expose yourself to these feelings so much that, okay, all right, that's not a big deal anymore. Or, that giant thing that took everybody out, that was called a liquidity sweep. Okay, that's normal. Those things happen, and so outsmart it. So be present. So in essence, one way to start is paper trading. I can't recommend that enough. You need to do demo paper trading. You can do it for free on TradingView. It doesn't cost you a dime, and it exposes you to the same. You're going to get the same emotions of winning and losing, and even though nothing's at risk. I think a lot of you might be, and this is what I'm not going to speak for you. I'll speak for me. One reason why I hesitated doing paper trading first is because I thought, well, if I start winning, that's real money that I could have had. And if I did it paper trading, it wouldn't mean anything. There's always going to be another day to trade. There's always going to be another time. Just as waves are going to keep washing up on this beach, that's the way trades work. They happen all the time, day after day. And so that FOMO, that fear of missing out, just forget about it. Fear and greed, those things, we are constantly going to be fighting. We will never be masters of that. It's always something that we're always going to have to temper and be the Lord over. So, bounce from the strip club, getting used to all the beautiful women. Snake handler, getting used to getting bit by a snake. Those are the two scenarios that I want you to keep in mind when you're conquering the dopamine monster and outsmarting it. So the biggest tip that I can give you is set your trades up in advance. That has helped me a great deal. And in fact, we'll go back to the office there and cue that up, and I'll show you. Setting your trades in advance puts this buffer between you and the moment, and will very well keep you from hitting the button too early. That's dopamine making you press that button. So dopamine can take many forms, and of course, in the gambling realm, and hitting it big or losing it big, those are definitely realms for dopamine to rear its ugly head. But you might really know it from social media. Especially if you have aging parents that just sit there and scroll, they're retired, and they just look through Facebook all freaking day. That is dopamine addiction, my friend. I've seen that firsthand. And what's so frustrating about that is baby boomers are just hip enough to know about social media, but they ain't trying to hear about dopamine. That goes over most of their heads. That's a tough nut to crack. Anyway, if you're out there and you've got some aging parents that are doing that, I feel for you. I know that one firsthand. But yeah, we need to outsmart this dopamine thing. And so I've got a couple tips for you on that. So what's so wrong with dopamine? What's the end result that could really screw you over when it's all said and done? Depression. Dopamine is a good thing when it is generated in your body naturally through running and working out or surfing or something, But if it's generated by pressing a freaking button and you see a response on the screen and, oh, my high school girlfriend liked a post that I made, and it chases me up, for just a second. Oh, she didn't make a comment, she just liked it. That kind of crap, that's what really poses us in general. And so, one, just being aware of it and what's happening to us. All right, so that's a start. The awareness of, oh, okay, I shouldn't feel like that, or get so worked up over this or that. So awareness, cool. Why is depression a part of the dopamine mix? Well, one study I did, I actually made this course that helps people get off of drugs and alcohol and stuff. And the biggies, the hardcore meth and heroin drugs, here's their deal. They spike your dopamine so freaking off the charts high that if you keep that up, it will inhibit your body's ability to manufacture dopamine naturally. So, in other words, the possibility exists that you may never feel happy again if you keep that shit up. So, could that happen if you scroll through Facebook all day, or if you're trading all day? Well, I'd prefer not to find out. Now that we know what it is and what can happen on the far end of the spectrum, let's take that variable out of the equation. Okay, so some things that I've come to learn about this trading thing is that whether it's the NASDAQ 100 index, whether it's Bitcoin, come on, change over, Bitcoin, there we go, to Apple, whatever, I'm not going to hop all over the place. A chart is a chart is a chart. Wow, it looks like Bitcoin is at all-time highs. Which is kind of correlating with other stuff that is at all-time highs. So let's go back to one of my, the thing that I really trade is NASDAQ 100. Anyway, let's go back to that because I don't really like trade Bitcoin. I buy some. I'm a buyer and a holder, but let's see here. All right, so this is a chart that I've drawn up, but let's go to a clean slate for you. Okay, so that's still the NASDAQ 100. All right, so this is the NASDAQ 100 index, and it is on the daily. You see this right here? So it's going to tell a different story if you change it to 15 minutes. You see that here? Here's 4 hours. And of course you can play with your mouse and expand it, widen it, so you can really get in and see what is happening. But what we want to identify is support and resistance. That is the key thing with trading that I have discovered. And so let's go ahead and do that. You can do it on any time frame. You want to do it between daily, 4 hour, and 1 hour. That's the thing that I've learned from the guys that are making millions doing this stuff. So let's go ahead and do that. And so we want to identify what trend we're in, and we want to identify support and resistance. So this right here is in an uptrend. Cool. So we'll just go ahead and start. So we find these tools and we can play with them. And so this is support. How do we know it's support? Because it's not going lower. Buyers are stepping in and saying, yeah, that seems like a pretty good deal. I'll buy that sucker right there. And then somewhere right around in here, sellers are like coming in and say, oh, that's a great spot to sell. Let's see, so we'll go ahead and do that. Come on. Yeah, so it kind of fought a little bit, retraced, and then it breaks through. So this is resistance. We got support, and this is resistance. So I think of it as a floor and a ceiling. And a pretty good rule of thumb that has served me well is buy when it's on support, sell when it's on resistance. And then, of course these rules are not perfect. And the way I identified them as rules is in blackjack. A lot of you folks check out my channel because I made a sweepstakes program with online casinos, and then you get your money back by playing blackjack. Well, cool. Well, blackjack, to be successful in it, you need to know the rules and just simply do them. Like, for example, if the dealer has a 2 and you have an 11, well, that's a really good hand for you, so you double your bet. But there's no guarantee you're going to win. It's just a high probability. So if you press the sell button here, cool. If you pressed it again, here you were cool. Eventually your luck ran out with pressing the sell button when the index was coming up into this zone, because it eventually broke through. So, there's no certainties really. There's just, possibilities and probabilities. What's it probably going to do? When it hits resistance, it's probably going to go down. How far it goes down, well, that remains to be seen. That's a different kind of subject for a different day. But, if it would have come back down here, well, you can see that buyers would have been waiting on that, and then it would have come back up, because if it's at support, your best probability of success is to buy at support as opposed to sell at support. Sometimes it just keeps on coming through, but more often than not, it does not. There's no guarantees in this thing, and one reason why we want to use a higher time frame is because it sort of seems to abide by the support and resistance rules better than a lower time frame. Hey, I just want to get you prepared for something, and that is, you're going to lose. You're going to lose a lot of money. You're going to lose a little bit of money frequently. It is unavoidable, and I'm here to tell you that does not make you a loser. You need to get that through your head. You need to callous your mind, your psyche for losing, and just make sure you win more than you lose. And when you lose, you don't lose a lot. And I'm going to show you, steps that I've taken for that, and I'm going to show you goof-ups that I've made as well. And one of the things that's helped condition me, a lot of you folks might be here from the Sweepstakes Superstar program course that I've made and released here to you. It's at learnsweeps.com, where that takes you to my free playlist if you're not familiar already. All right, so one thing that we do in that is to redeem our sweeps coins into cash is we play blackjack over and over again. And, every time I'd lose a hand of blackjack, I wouldn't go to pieces and be like, oh my gosh, I'm such a loser. No, I just, all right, won, okay, I lost. I won, I lost, and it wasn't any big whoop. So that's helped sort of condition me, because if you're playing tons of hands of blackjack, you can't win every single one. What I've done that's helped me is I've gamified it. It's not about the money. It's about being right more than I'm wrong. I think this thing's going up. I think it's going up right about there from here. Cool. If I'm right, the money takes care of itself. If we can remove the money, which I highly suggest you do, because that's what I'm trying to do, I'm just trying to be right more than I'm wrong, then the money will take care of itself if I'm just simply right more than I am wrong. We talked about support and resistance, so let me share a couple of things with regards to that. We want our trading to be mechanized, all right? And so that's rules-based. We only trade during this time. We do not trade during this time. But when we place a trade, we only buy from support. We only sell from resistance. So that right there, as simple as it sounds, that right there could make you rich. I plan on it making me rich. If you do not buy from support, your trade is wrong. You might get lucky, but it's wrong. So if we can operate from rules-based trading like that, it's just going to be better for you, as it has done for me. Because even if I lose, I'm not torn up about it because I did it correctly. Just as if, in blackjack, let's say the dealer has a 2 and I have an 11 and I double, and I double down. So that's the rule in blackjack. If I lose, I'm not mad because I played the hand correctly. You see what I'm saying? And so that's how I feel we should approach trading. I'm trying to get better at this, but as I step outside and observe my own behaviors, I think one thing I've been doing is, I want to try to do mechanized as much as possible. The old 80-20 rule is going to slip into virtually every aspect of our life, and I think that I'm trading mechanized 80% of the time, but then 20% of the time is emotional. I will still make boneheaded, dumbass mistakes out of emotion because I feel like this is a good time to do this. And matter of fact, I recorded one of those boneheaded times, And I'm going to show it to you right now. He really showed me. Oh my gosh, I think I might have to hop in. Are you kidding me? Am I really going to do this right now? Am I really going to? Oh my gosh, let's see. Yeah, so don't do this. Are you really going to trade, Scott? That's 5 minutes. Holy crap. Yeah, I'm hopping in. Don't do this. It's just too juicy though. It's at and plus the spreads are high. It's just really bad. I shouldn't have done that. And I shouldn't have. And I'm doing revenge trading on top of that because I've made some trades and I've been losing. But it is support. There's a lot of action happening right now. Great. Now, let's see. Do something nice here. So I'll tell you what. Let's go ahead and, since I'm being a dumbass and I'm actually trading at night, one thing we want to absolutely do is set a stop loss. So if it gets out of hand, ooh, $200 stop loss? Holy shit. Didn't look that far. Wow, 152. I'm 80 bucks down. Holy crap. 4 lots is a lot. Wow. Oh my goodness. Alright, well, there should be buyers right here. Let's see. Alright. That is not smart, ladies and gentlemen. Ooh, $100 down. Way to go, Scott. Brilliant. All right, where were we? Yeah, I believe I'm gonna stop this damn video. All right, so you saw me lose $200 quicker than a cat can lick its ass, like that. Why? Because I was goofing around at night. We shouldn't take trades at night. The market is now open 23 hours a day. It actually shuts off between like 5 and 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. And it's just highly inadvisable to be trading at night. So when do we want to trade? We want to trade between like 9:50 a.m. and like 1 o'clock, shut off by 2 p.m. max, really. And there's always some exceptions to the rule, but that's prime time. Why? Because that's when the volume is there. So imagine like going out and fishing in the ocean. You want to go where the schools of fish are running and when they're running. So that's trading right there. You just saw me lose what people work a whole day for. Just like that, just goofing around. And I've done that gobs of times. And it's going to happen to you despite us both knowing better. I just want to let you know what the pitfalls are. And that we try to not step in these shit pits as much as possible. But we need to be aware of them. Even that we're going to watch ourselves do bad behavior all the time. I'm going to be pressing buttons going, I shouldn't be doing this. And sometimes it works out. But if we try to stick to Willie. Okay. All right, but we just need to try to stick to mechanized rules-based trading. We need to know it's there. And if we know it's there, and if we know what these rules are that work for us, then we should try to stick to them, and we'll stick to them more often than we don't stick to them. When that happens, good stuff happens. Isn't that right, Willie? That's right.